What if I told you that every night you vanish from this reality without even knowing it? Not just your mind, but your consciousness slips into realms most people will never remember. Yet, they shape your thoughts, your emotions, even your destiny. Ancient civilizations left behind hidden texts describing these nightly journeys in disturbing detail. But why has modern science buried this knowledge? And the real question is, who or what do you become when your eyes close? Tonight, we're going to uncover the forbidden knowledge about where your consciousness really goes when you sleep, and why remembering these hidden journeys might be the single most important skill you'll ever develop. Ready to remember what you were never supposed to forget? Close your eyes for a moment, not to rest, but to depart. What if sleep isn't just a nightly shutdown of the senses, but a carefully designed exit from this reality, a door that swings open the moment your conscious mind lets go, allowing you to slip into dimensions where the rules of time, space, and even identity no longer apply. This isn't a poetic metaphor. It's a belief etched deeply into the wisdom of ancient civilizations. The Egyptians spoke of the Ba, the soul bird, leaving the body each night to roam freely across the astral realms. They crafted detailed scrolls, like the Book of the Dead, not just for death, but for navigating these nightly voyages. Tomb walls were inscribed with celestial maps, guides for the soul's journey through unseen worlds, night after night. In the Himalayas, Tibetan monks developed dream yoga, an advanced spiritual practice where practitioners trained themselves to remain fully conscious as they slipped beyond the physical. They believed that mastering this art was not only a path to enlightenment, but a preparation for death itself. Indigenous tribes across the world shared similar views. To them, sleep was a sacred ritual. Elders taught that the dream world was as real, if not more real, than waking life. It was in these hidden realms that ancestors spoke, lost wisdom was found, and futures could be glimpsed. So why did modern society abandon this perspective? The industrial age brought artificial lighting and rigid sleep schedules. Suddenly, there was no time or belief in the mystery of the night. Sleep became a mere recovery process, a mechanical function of the body. Yet, despite all our scientific advances, we still can't explain the undeniable reality of dreams. Why is it that in some dreams, you feel emotions more intensely than in waking life? Why do certain symbols appear over and over, even across cultures you've never studied? And why is it that sometimes you wake up haunted by memories of a life that isn't yours, in a place that doesn't exist, yet feels real? Here's the question no one dares to ask. If your body remains in bed, but you experience vivid sights, emotions, even entire lifetimes during sleep, where is your consciousness actually going? And perhaps more disturbingly, what is it bringing back? Think about it carefully. Every night you surrender to the unknown. You cross a threshold without question, and sometimes you return feeling lighter, healed. Other times, you wake up burdened by an unexplained sadness or a lingering fear you can't shake. What if those feelings aren't random? What if they're the echoes of places your consciousness traveled, battles it fought, or lessons it learned? In realms beyond this one, in the chapters ahead, we'll explore exactly what those journeys mean, and why remembering them could unlock abilities and wisdom you never imagined you possessed. Consider this unsettling possibility. Your dreams aren't made up. They're memories, not memories of your past in this life, but recollections of where your consciousness actually went while your body lay still. Science tells us dreams are nothing more than neurological housekeeping, a random firing of neurons, meaningless images stitched together by a restless brain. But if that's true, why do some dreams leave you waking up in tears? Why do others linger for days, their emotional weight heavier than anything you experience while awake? And why do people across the globe report dreaming of the same symbols? The same mysterious places, even the same shadowed figures. If dreams are fiction, why do they often feel more real than reality? Ancient wisdom offers an entirely different perspective. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's believed that during sleep, your consciousness slips into the bardo, a liminal realm where souls meet, learn, and even prepare for their next incarnation. The Australian Aboriginals speak of the dream time, a parallel reality that exists beyond linear time, where all creation stories and future destinies are written. Could it be that when you dream, you're not imagining? You're remembering? Remembering lives lived in parallel dimensions, remembering encounters with other beings, some benevolent, others not. Remembering lessons your waking mind is too distracted or conditioned to see. And here's the most fascinating part. These dream experiences don't just fade away when you wake up. They subtly shape your thoughts, your feelings, and even your future decisions. Ever woken up from a dream and suddenly felt clarity about a problem that's haunted you for months? Or found yourself making a life-changing choice, guided by nothing but a feeling you can't quite explain? What if that wasn't coincidence, but the result of knowledge retrieved from places your conscious mind can't remember, yet your higher self never forgot? In these hidden realms, your consciousness isn't bound by the laws of this world. You can visit futures that haven't yet unfolded, explore regrets from alternate lives, and encounter versions of yourself you've never met, but who know you intimately. And sometimes, just sometimes, the messages you receive there hold the key to unlocking your greatest potential or warning you of dangers ahead. So the next time you dismiss a dream as nonsense, ask yourself, what if that dream was more real than everything you'll experience today? Have you ever jolted awake with the strange sensation of falling? That sudden drop, as if your consciousness was yanked back into your body. That wasn't just a physical reflex. Ancient spiritual traditions suggest you experienced the tug of something known as the silver cord, an energetic tether connecting your physical body to your wandering consciousness. It's a concept whispered through the pages of mystical texts, found in everything from ancient Egyptian papyri to theosophical teachings and even the Bible itself, where Ecclesiastes speaks of the silver cord being loosed. According to this forgotten wisdom, the silver cord is your lifeline. As your consciousness travels beyond the confines of the material world each night, this invisible thread keeps you anchored, ensuring you find your way back. But it's more than just a safety line, it's a transmitter. Through this cord flows the knowledge, the emotional imprints, and the subtle intuitions gathered during your nightly journeys. That sudden gut feeling you get, that moment of inspiration out of nowhere. Often these are echoes from your consciousness, returning with messages too delicate for the conscious mind to interpret directly. Astral travelers, those who have trained themselves to explore these realms consciously, report seeing the silver cord as a luminous silver-white thread stretching from their subtle form back to their sleeping body. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. This cord isn't just a connection to your physical form, it links you to something far greater. Some say it connects you to your higher self, the eternal part of you that exists beyond space and time. Others believe it serves as a conduit between this life and the collective unconscious, a vast ocean of shared knowledge and experience. But what happens if this connection weakens? Some esoteric teachings warn that the more disconnected you become from your dreams, the less you remember your nocturnal journeys, the thinner this cord becomes. Over time, you feel more lost, more anxious, and strangely, more susceptible to external control. Do you see the pattern? A society that forgets how to dream deeply is a society more easily manipulated, less intuitive, and increasingly disconnected from higher wisdom. So the next time you experience that falling sensation before waking or a sudden unshakable intuition, pause and ask yourself, what was my consciousness just trying to bring back through the silver cord, and did I listen? In today's world, we're taught that uninterrupted 8-hour sleep is the gold standard of rest. But what if this modern belief is completely unnatural? Before the invention of artificial lighting, humans didn't sleep in one long block. Instead, they naturally followed a pattern known as biphasic sleep, two distinct sleep periods separated by a mysterious wakeful phase in the middle of the night. And it was during this quiet, twilight period that something extraordinary happened. Historical records from as far back as the Middle Ages describe people rising in the darkness, not to work or labor, but to sit in silent reflection, meditate, pray, or even engage in creative pursuits. This wasn't considered insomnia, it was a sacred time. Why? Because this in-between state, hovering delicately between the conscious and unconscious mind, is when the veil between worlds is at its thinnest. In this liminal space, what mystics call the hypnagogic state, the logical mind quiets, and deeper, more intuitive insights rise to the surface. It's the precise moment when you're most open to receiving messages from your higher self, or from other realms entirely. Think about this. Some of history's greatest minds and visionaries thrived in this state. Thomas Edison used to hold metal balls in his hands as he drifted off. As soon as he began slipping into the hypnagogic state, his muscles would relax, the balls would fall, and he'd wake up, instantly recording the flashes of genius that came to him in that brief moment between worlds. In a society obsessed with productivity and rigid schedules, we've lost this ancient practice. Yet it holds the key to reconnecting with parts of ourselves long forgotten. Have you ever woken in the middle of the night, mind racing, creativity surging, or a profound sense of calm washing over you? That was your inner self inviting you to participate in the forgotten ritual of the second sleep, to reflect, to write down your dreams, to listen closely to the whispers of your soul. And here's a secret few realize. If you consciously embrace this wakeful phase instead of fighting it, you can train yourself to enter lucid states, access hidden memories from your nocturnal journeys, and even influence the dreams that come afterward. So, the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., don't reach for your phone. Don't panic about losing. Sleep instead. Sit in the stillness and ask, what doorway just opened for me, and am I brave enough to walk through it? If sleep is a portal to hidden realms, ask yourself, why has this knowledge been buried? The truth is unsettling. Throughout history, those in power have understood that controlling the mind is the most effective way to control the masses. And what better way to suppress human potential than by disconnecting people from their most powerful and untapped resource, their nightly journeys beyond the physical world? Ancient mystery schools once taught their initiates how to master dream states, consciously navigate the astral planes, and retrieve knowledge from higher realms. These teachings weren't considered mystical fantasy. They were seen as essential survival tools for spiritual sovereignty. But somewhere along the timeline, that knowledge was hidden, or worse, demonized. The rise of institutionalized religion, industrialization, and later materialist science reshaped how society viewed consciousness. Dreams were reduced to meaningless subconscious noise. Sleep became a biological function, stripped of its spiritual importance, and those who dared explore their dream worlds were labeled as fools or even heretics. Why? Because a person who remembers their dreams, who recalls their soul's nightly travels, is not easily controlled. They begin to live with purpose. They stop following blindly. They trust their inner knowing over external authorities. And for those who thrive on fear and control, that's dangerous. Look around. Notice how modern society encourages constant distraction, sleep deprivation, and artificial stimulation. Bright screens late into the night, endless content to keep your mind occupied, a glorification of productivity over rest. Is it any wonder that most people can't remember their dreams? That they wake up exhausted, disconnected, and easily manipulated? But here's the hidden truth. This knowledge was never truly lost. It lives in you, dormant, waiting. The moment you begin remembering your dreams, truly remembering, you start breaking free from unseen chains. You begin to understand that your life is more than the stories society tells you, that you are more powerful, more connected, and more infinite than you've ever been led to believe. So ask yourself, who benefits from you forgetting? And what would happen if you dared to remember? Have you ever woken from a dream with an overwhelming sense that you just lived an entire lifetime, yet none of it belonged to the reality? You know, you stood in a house you've never seen, but it felt like home. You looked into the eyes of a stranger, but felt a love so deep it left you aching upon waking. Or maybe you made a decision in that dream that left you with regret or relief, as if the outcome truly mattered. What if I told you that wasn't just a dream? That was an encounter with an alternate version of yourself, a you existing in a parallel timeline, living out choices and destinies your conscious mind can't yet comprehend. This isn't just esoteric theory. Even quantum physics entertains the idea of the many worlds interpretation, suggesting that every decision you make branches into a new reality. Every what if you've ever wondered about is playing out somewhere. Right now, and during sleep, when the logical mind releases its grip, your consciousness slips between these parallel realities, encountering the lives you might have lived or still are living in some alternate plane. This explains why some dreams carry unbearable emotional weight, why you wake up mourning a life you never lived, or feeling victorious over a challenge you never faced. At least not here. These aren't random mental events. They're messages, warnings, lessons, opportunities for healing. Perhaps you repeatedly dream of roads you never took, careers abandoned, relationships never pursued, versions of yourself more daring, more creative, more fulfilled. These encounters aren't meant to torment you. They're invitations, reminders that the choices you make today still have the power to realign you with those unlived potentials. But sometimes the reverse is true. You may encounter shadow versions of yourself, timelines where fear ruled your decisions, where resentment consumed you, where isolation became your only companion. These dreams feel heavy for a reason. They carry a silent question. Is this the path you're unconsciously heading toward? The next time you wake from such a dream, don't dismiss it as fantasy. Sit quietly and ask, what did that version of me want to show me? And am I brave enough to change course before that alternate reality becomes my waking life? Because the most profound truth is this: the future you meet in your dreams doesn't have to stay a dream. You have the power to bring it to life or avoid it entirely. The choice, as always, is yours. Have you ever wondered why dreams rarely communicate with words, but instead flood your mind with powerful images, strange symbols, and surreal scenes? It's because the language of the soul isn't spoken, it's symbolic. Your higher self doesn't operate through linear logic or human language. It speaks in metaphors, archetypes, and vivid imagery because these symbols cut straight through the noise of the rational mind and speak directly to your subconscious. Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human psyche, believed that these dream symbols come from the collective unconscious, a deep well of universal images and archetypes shared across all cultures and times. This is why people from opposite sides of the world dream of the same ancient symbols: the serpent, the staircase, the ocean, the mirror, the door. Each carries a meaning far beyond its surface appearance. A door isn't just a door. It's an opportunity, a transition between what is known and the unknown. A mirror isn't simply a reflection. It's a challenge to face the hidden parts of yourself, the shadow you've refused to confront. An ocean isn't just a vast body of water. It represents the boundless depths of the unconscious, the mysteries you've yet to explore. The problem is, most people dismiss these symbols as random nonsense. But those who listen, who take time to reflect, begin to realize their dreams are personal roadmaps, guiding them through life's biggest challenges and transformations. Think back. Has a recurring symbol ever appeared in your dreams? A staircase you couldn't climb, a locked door you couldn't open, a child you couldn't reach? These aren't just dream fragments. They're urgent messages from your higher self, attempts to prepare you for upcoming events, to help you heal emotional wounds, or to reveal parts of yourself that are desperately waiting for acknowledgement. And here's the secret most people never learn. When you start consciously decoding these symbols, when you treat them as sacred messages rather than random images, you unlock a direct line of communication with your soul. So tonight, before you drift into sleep, set an intention. Ask your higher self, what symbols will you show me, and will I have the courage to understand their true meaning when I wake? Most people go to bed hoping for rest. But what if the real purpose of sleep isn't just to recharge your body, but to heal your soul? Behind the dream world's strange landscapes and cryptic symbols lies a hidden purpose: to confront the unresolved. Emotions, buried traumas, and hidden fears you've carefully locked away during waking life. Have you ever experienced a dream so emotionally intense that it left you shaken for days? A confrontation with someone you thought you'd forgotten? Or a scenario so painful you felt it in your chest long after you opened your eyes? That wasn't just a bad dream. That was your subconscious pulling suppressed emotions to the surface, creating a symbolic stage where you could finally face them. And here's the incredible truth. While these dreams can feel harsh, they serve a powerful purpose. During sleep, your consciousness moves through layers of reality, unfiltered by ego and defense mechanisms. In this raw, vulnerable state, you can process experiences that are simply too painful to deal with while awake. This is why some spiritual traditions say you work harder while asleep than you do while awake. In the dream world, you revisit old wounds. You replay difficult scenarios. But here's the key. You're not reliving them to suffer. You're reliving them to rewrite the emotional imprint they left behind. This is why recurring nightmares often stop after a deep emotional breakthrough. In waking life, the soul's lesson has been learned. The healing is complete, and sometimes healing doesn't just happen on a personal level. There are moments when, during sleep, you play a role in healing others, taking part in non-physical missions that assist loved ones or even complete strangers on a soul level. You wake up feeling emotionally drained or inexplicably fulfilled, sensing that something important happened, even if you can't quite recall the details. So, the next time you find yourself waking from a dream that leaves you unsettled or exhausted, resist the urge to brush it off. Instead, ask, what part of me was asking to be healed, and did I have the courage to listen? Because every night, beyond the unconscious darkness, a hidden sanctuary awaits, a place where your soul quietly works to free you from the chains of unprocessed pain. While you may think sleep is purely for personal restoration, ancient teachings suggest something far more profound. You may be serving a higher purpose during sleep, without even realizing it. Mystical traditions across cultures tell of travelers in the astral realms, souls who, while their bodies rest, embark on missions of healing, protection, and guidance in unseen dimensions. These are not stories reserved for saints or prophets. They speak of ordinary people like you, who unknowingly perform acts of great service while their conscious minds remain unaware. Have you ever woken up from a deep, dreamless sleep, feeling utterly exhausted, as if you'd spent the entire night working, even though you don't remember a thing? Or perhaps you've felt an unexplainable sense of peace or fulfillment upon waking, as if some important task had just been completed. According to esoteric teachings, these are signs that your consciousness participated in non-physical missions, assisting lost souls, guiding others through their own healing processes, or helping to balance chaotic energies in realms beyond this one. Some people report recurring dreams where they're helping crowds of people, leading others through dark landscapes, or standing as a guardian at thresholds between worlds. These aren't just symbolic fantasies. They're reflections of the deeper service your soul performs while untethered from the body. And here's the most fascinating part. Even if you don't consciously remember these missions, the wisdom and emotional imprints you gather during them return with you, subtly influencing your waking life. This explains why, after certain nights, you wake up with profound insights about people you barely know, or why you suddenly feel overwhelming compassion for strangers you meet the next day. Your soul has touched theirs in places your mind cannot recall. So tonight, before you fall asleep, try something different. Set an intention. Quietly whisper to yourself, "If there is a mission I am meant to fulfill tonight, let me serve with grace, and if there is wisdom to bring back, let it surface when the time is right. Because whether you remember it or not, you are far more than a passive sleeper. You may be a healer, a guide, a protector, in worlds unseen but deeply felt." If these nightly journeys are so powerful, why do we forget them so easily? The truth is, modern life is designed to make you forget. Alarms yank you violently from sleep. Bright screens flood your senses before bed. You wake up and immediately dive into tasks, messages, and distractions, severing the delicate threads that connect you to the wisdom of the night. But here's what most people don't realize. Dream recall is not a gift, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained. Ancient cultures treated dream recollection as a sacred practice. Before falling asleep, shamans and seekers would set clear intentions, not just to dream, but to remember. They believed that by consciously preparing the mind, you open the pathways between waking and dreaming life. So how do you begin reclaiming this lost art? Start simple. Tonight, before you close your eyes, repeat a quiet intention. I will remember my journey. I'm open to the messages of my dreams. Place a journal and pen beside your bed. As soon as you wake, even before checking the time, write down anything you remember, even if it's just a feeling, a color, or a single image. At first, this may seem trivial, but with practice, those fragments will grow into vivid, detailed memories. And over time, something miraculous happens. You begin to wake up within the dream itself, becoming aware that you're dreaming while it's happening. This is the gateway to lucid dreaming, the ability to consciously explore and interact with the dream world in real time. And what's the value of that? When you become lucid, you can directly ask your higher self questions, revisit forgotten memories, or even heal emotional wounds by confronting them face to face in the dream world. This is how the greatest mystics and sages gathered knowledge, from beyond the veil, not through blind faith, but through direct experience in the realms accessible only when the waking mind sleeps. So tonight, don't just drift off into unconsciousness. Enter sleep like a traveler preparing for a great journey, because the more you remember, the more awake you'll become, not just in your dreams, but in your life. Once you begin to understand the true nature of sleep, something profound happens. Your waking life transforms. You start to realize that reality is far more fluid than you ever imagined. The rigid boundaries between the dream world and the physical, World begin to blur, and a new awareness emerges. Life itself is a kind of waking dream. Think about it. In dreams, entire worlds rise and fall at the speed of thought. You experience joy, fear, love, and sorrow, all without a single real event taking place. But when you wake, those emotions feel as vivid and meaningful as anything you experienced during the day. So what separates the dream from the so-called real world? The mystics would tell you, nothing but your level of awareness. When you begin to live with this understanding, you start to approach each day as a sacred opportunity. Every conversation becomes meaningful. Every decision carries the weight of unseen consequences, and every moment feels like a message, waiting to be decoded. This is the true gift of remembering your nocturnal journeys. It's not just about exploring hidden realms while you sleep. It's about bringing that same sense of wonder, curiosity, and conscious choice into your waking life. You begin to recognize the symbols in your day-to-day experience, recurring numbers, chance encounters, unexpected detours. You pay closer attention to the intuitive nudges and subtle feelings that guide your path. And over time, you stop asking, is this just a coincidence? You start asking, what is this moment trying to teach me? Because when you live with awareness, life itself becomes the greatest teacher. The boundary between dream and reality dissolves, and you realize that both worlds are working together to shape your evolution. So the next time you feel lost, overwhelmed, or disconnected, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I sleepwalking through my own life, or am I finally waking up? Now you know, sleep isn't just a biological reset, it's a sacred portal. Every night without fail, you step through hidden doorways to places beyond the limits of this reality. You meet alternate versions of yourself. You confront the unresolved emotions you've buried. You perform acts of healing and service far beyond your conscious awareness. And if you choose to remember, truly remember, you can bring back wisdom that transforms your waking life forever. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, don't treat it as routine. Approach it as a conscious journey. Set your intention. Open your heart and ask, what am I meant to remember, and who will I become when I wake? And if this message stirred something deep within you, if a part of you feels the truth in these words, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone you care about. Leave a comment below sharing your most unforgettable dream experience. Hit the like button so more seekers can find this knowledge. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. There's an entire universe waiting for you, and it's appearing on your screen right now. Click on one of the videos showing up and continue this journey of awakening. Until next time, sleep deeply, dream boldly, and remember, you are far more powerful than you've ever been told. Good night and good awakening.